Baby, it's cold outside. Hello and welcome back to the Nashville Knows My Nostrils. I'm your host as always, Dr. Magnifiscent. Christmas is over, New Year's is over, now we just have 2 more months of winter wonderland to look forward to. Oh goody. Now normally that would be a depressing thought because I don't like to be cold, but when I started getting into perfumery, it really gave me something to look forward to and really enjoy during the cold months because winter scents are my favorite. When there's a chill in the air, I get to bust out the deeper, darker, denser scents. My tobaccos, my boozies, vanillas, patchoulis, spices, ambers. I wanna peel the paint off the walls when I walk into a room. Okay, maybe not to that level, but I do like them strong. So here are my top 10 favorite fragrances to wear in the dead of winter. I have ranked these the best I can from least to most favorite, but yet again, I must remind you all that all 10 of these here are world champions to me, and I love them each in their own very special way. You would never rank your kids, would you? I mean, would you? Of course not. Of course not. No, of course not. But luckily, these are fragrances, not people. I just thought I'd make it even more challenging for myself to try and actually put these in a ranked order. So let's get to it. The doctor is now in. Number 10, let's kick it off with Tom 40 Ford's Tuscan Leather Intense. Or is it pronounced Tucson Leather, like Arizona? Don't think so, but not 100% on that. Well, however you pronounce it, this is a goodie. It's tough to put this one last, but all of these are so high up in my book, someone had to get put here. This is the intense version of the original Tuscan Leather, duh, as the name implies. And let me tell you straight up, I don't think the extra money you're gonna pay for the intense version is really worth it. Also, I believe the Intense is discontinued, and you can still find the original everywhere, so if price and availability are factors for you, I would honestly suggest the original over the Intense version. Both Tuscan Leather and Tuscan Leather Intense have that signature leather raspberry combo, along with saffron, jasmine, thyme, amber, albanium, which I believe is some sort of frankincense, so some spices and deep resins in there to keep it just from smelling like an old leather couch. The Intense adds some animalic notes, which definitely gives it a little more potency and the slightest edge on performance, but the original is still really strong for most people, and performance does just fine. In fact, if wearability is another factor for you, that may swing the original even more in your favor. But for me, like I said, I like them super strong. Another popular Tom Ford is Ombre Leather, which I don't own either. Many people rave about that one, claiming it to be even more wearable than Tuscan Leather. At first impression of Ombre Leather, I wasn't crazy about it just because to me, it smelled even more just like a photorealistic leather jacket. I should definitely give it another try. I'm also really curious about the Ombre Leather Parfum. Of all the leather scents out there though, Tuscan Leather is a staple and one of Tom Ford's first creations, so to me it's top dog. But feel free to let me know your favorite leather scents in a comment. I'm curious about your thoughts on them. A few other ones I've sampled and recommend trying are B638 Extrait by Marc-Antoine Barrois. Barrois. I'm so good at speaking French, aren't I? If I'm butchering that name, I apologize. I'm doing my best. But anyway, it has this kind of Wall Street CEO vibe and smells like the inside of a fancy sports car. It smells expensive, which makes sense because it is expensive. Hence why I'm showing you a picture of it right here, rather than just holding a bottle. Luckily, Google Images are free. Parfums de Marly Godolphin is another one spoken highly of, and one I need to revisit. Also, that gold bottle is just fancy. There's another cool indie house called Argos with a really smooth leather scent called Baccio Immortale. Right here. It's not super pricey, and I will probably snag that one up at some point, along with their tobacco scent, Triumph of Bacchus. You know how I feel about tobacco scents. In fact, let's put one up right now. Number 9, Nasomatto Black Afgano. I really love the house of Nasomatto. I love that they're all Extrait de Parfum concentrations. Most of them are really good on longevity, and I love these bottles with the ridiculously oversized caps. Of course, I love to take my bottles with me when I travel, so luckily they come with these little travel caps, which is kind of nice. So you pop off the big cap, put on the little travel cap, and let's hit the road. Alessandro Guttieri is the owner and main perfumer. He also owns Orto Parisi. He's created scents for Fendi and Versace, among other big designers. But with his own brands, I love exploring his unbridled creativity. Black Afgano is one of his more popular solo creations, which has a slight tobacco note, but it's a bit offset by the much more dominant note of cannabis. Yes, it has a weed accord, which may worry some. Rest assured, my nostrils, I won't make you smell like you just hotboxed yourself in the car. It's much more complex with incense, coffee, oud, green notes, woody notes. It's a very nice, dark, and sexy blend with just a touch of that daring cannabis bite. It's not very indolic, but definitely not for everyone, so as always, try before you buy. Also, I don't recommend spraying this on white clothes. It will stain. If it's oud you're looking for this winter, it doesn't get much more popular than Oud for Greatness by Initio for number 8. Like Black Afgano, it has a musky, dark, and daring oud, but as much as I love the daring and unapologetic fragrances out there, I think I stand with a lot of other people who agree there's a limit to how much of that barnyard skank we want to have on us. Oud for Greatness gets close to that line without crossing over into Poo Town. Woo! Nobody wants that, do they? Well, some people might like that, but I'm not one of them. It's a smoother oud scent that doesn't get too offensive. This also has a pretty simple note breakdown with just oud, saffron, nutmeg, lavender, patchouli, and musk. Some may disagree with my assessment and claim it does get a little bit barny. So like Black Afgano, I suggest definitely sampling first, especially at these prices. On the safer side then, let's get Gucci Guilty Absolute in there for our lucky number 7. I'm putting this here because I think this designer release is quite bold compared to the rest of the Guilty line, but still has that designer pleasantness. It's easier to wear than the ones I've mentioned so far. It's a lovely leather woody with some patchouli, cypress, and vetiver. It's rugged and masculine, yet still accessible. Baby, it's cold outside, so enjoy this while you can, cause if you wear this in the summer, someone's gonna get choked out. A smoother and even more wearable designer scent for the wintertime is, of course, Guerlain L'Homme IDL EDP. You knew it was coming. Are you sick of hearing about this one yet? God, I'm sorry, but this one always sneaks itself onto my list somehow. Long story short, when it comes to winter scents, I had to slip this one in. It smells like elegant luxury at a Walmart price. I don't know. It's one of those things that will always be an undeniable must-have in my opinion. Almond, cherry, spices, woods, vanilla, and a subtle note of leather just to round it out. It's in no way a leather-dominant scent. It's almost more like they use the leather note just for its effect rather than its smell. For number 5, we're going with Alexandria II by Xerjoff. So smooth, so very smooth. It's another oud scent, but this one's even further away from the barn than Oud for Greatness or Black Afgano. It's also higher up on the price range, so it's gonna be more refined. This one also has green apple, lavender, cinnamon, rose, lily of the valley, sandalwood, amber, and vanilla, along with the oud and musk. So more complex with some sweeter, brighter, more resinous notes, some florals peppered in there nicely. Like how Guerlain EDP uses leather, I think this and the next one I'm about to mention uses the oud more for its effect than its smell. It would be a perfect scent for a wedding or a formal get-together, but at the same time, it would be really fun to wear this to just Walgreens or something and see how many heads you'll turn. Xerjoffs are famous for their luxury scents, and when it's cold outside, this is a nice, warm, and addictive scent to have on. And going even a step further into the luxurious realm, this is a scent I actually did wear at one of my girl's best friend's wedding last year. It's Oud Satin Mood by Maison Francois Kurkdjian. Or Mason Francis Kurkdjian if you're a simple American like this guy who speaks absolutely no French. My apologies to all my French viewers. I'm sure there's so many of you. They're like, this guy's an idiot. This, in my opinion, is the quintessential rose oud combo. And there's a lot out there with rose and oud, like PB&J, mint and chocolate chip, French fries and mayonnaise. What? What? Oh, come on! It's not gross, it's good! My girl also loves dipping French fries in mayo, which is why we're still in love. Anyway, rose and oud are two notes that are often found together because they just complement each other so well, and in this scent, they are one happy couple. Kind of like a couple that likes French fries and mayo together. A couple that likes French fries and mayo together will enjoy their fries forever. You got Turkish rose and Bulgarian rose with the oud, along with vanilla, violet, and benzoin. It's sweet without ever getting too cloying, bold without ever even getting close to stanky. There isn't a barn in sight with this beauty. It ain't even on the map. So I'll tell you briefly about the first time I wore this. My girl's friend was getting married about an hour outside of town. She was in the wedding, so she left in the morning, and I, as her +1, took the later party shuttle to the venue. I had no experience with this scent. I blind bought it, never smelled it. I just rolled the dice, put 5 sprays on, threw on my suit, and left the house. Hours later, as soon as the ceremony was over, my baby ran up to me, and the first thing she said to me was, "Wow, you really smell great." And she never says that about anything I have on. She doesn't like a lot of fragrances because she's so sensitive to them. I'm very careful about what I wear around her. So the fact that I got her seal of approval was all I needed to make this one of my all-time faves. Trust me on this, my dear nostrils. If she loves it, anyone will love it. And after dancing and partying well into the night, I was still getting whiffs of this the whole time. So the performance is beastly, the sillage is lovely, and it was still fairly warm outside, so it's quite versatile for other seasons depending on the occasion. On all merits, I can safely call this a must-have, and out of their whole oud collection, it's the only one I've found in 35 mil. So although MFKs are not cheap, it'll be a little bit more affordable than the others in this line. And now one from the sister brand to Initio we talk about a lot on this channel, and you know this list wouldn't be complete without Parfums de Marly's Carlisle at number 3. This one is only available in the 4.2 ounce bottle. Unfortunately, I'll always prefer smaller bottles for 3 main reasons. A, they're cheaper. B, I'll probably never empty one in my lifetime. And most importantly, C, my life is always on the go and I can fit more of the smaller bottles into my travel case. So you know, if I ever break down and actually buy a giant bottle, the juice must be something special. Like Pegasus exclusive, I couldn't not get this one. I can't not have it. Many have claimed this to be almost a split combo of bright and lively Leighton and dark and musky Herod, which is one of their highly praised tobacco scents. Although this one doesn't have a tobacco note listed, my nose detects at least something tobacco-like. It may be the patchouli, nutmeg, and tonka bean, which kind of supplies this rich, sweet, leafy spice. And then you have green apple and vanilla, which are also prominent in Leighton, and therefore you have the middle spectrum between the two. I wore this in Minneapolis a few weeks ago, where the temperature was, no joke, like 8 degrees outside. And I could still smell this on me. This is pure winter perfection, which is why it's ranked so high on this list. And it was a tough call between that one and this next one, but I gave this one a slight edge because it has a little booziness with a rum accord in the top notes, and it does come in 50 mil. By Kilian, Straight to Heaven, my number 2 pick. This also has patchouli, nutmeg, and vanilla, but the cedar and amber in the base really gives it a nice backbone along with the musk and dried fruits, making it overall a very sexy fragrance with all these elements at play. The booze, the spice, the woods, the subtle sweetness, and the robust muskiness. One of, if not my favorite from this house. My number 1 pick for this was also a really tough call, but for today, I'm gonna go with the newest addition to the family from the house of Memo. Let's do African Leather at number 1. I blind bought this due to the insane hype from other fragrance YouTubers, and this one was a big risk as the price is way out of my scent gambling comfort range. But to my enormous relief, it lives up to the hype and it was love at first sniff. The praise is real, everybody! And although this has leather in the name, it's much more of a supporting role to my nose. I think the main player here is the cardamom. Then you have patchouli, again, saffron, vetiver, musk, and then just some slight bergamot to liven it up. And then there's one note that can be so off-putting if used too much: cumin. Cumin is the spice that can smell like pure BO if heavily added. And with this, they use just the right amount to add some sexiness, not sweatiness. That's what we don't want. Why would you want to spray armpits on your neck? So I'm very impressed with the delicate balance of all these notes working together. Performance, not unlike all the ones I've already mentioned today. Powerhouse. To me and everything I've smelled, I think it's very special and a beautifully done fragrance. I do not recommend blind buying. Do as I say, not as I do. Well, there you have it, my 10 all-time all-stars for the winter, my favorite scents out there of my favorite scent season. Now you tell me what your favorite winter scents are. Drop a comment because you know how we roll. It's not just a YouTube channel. It's a community! I want to hear from you, fellow scent geeks. And if you really want to feel some warmth in your heart this winter, why don't you click that little button down there? You know, the one that says subscribe. This doctor will keep you roasty, toasty warm all winter with that sweet, sweet fragrance-related content. While you're at it, give us a like, won't you? Ding the bell to keep the algorithm gods from cursing you with 6 more weeks of winter. And help your friends and family smell better for the season by forwarding this video to them. I'm sure it'll warm their hearts too. Thanks so much for spending this time with me. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay unfrozen, and of course, stay smelly. The doctor is out.